Okay, Lassie, I thought I'd make you a little walk around video of your pilot that you asked me to make for you here and kind of throw it together with some of the different examples possibly for Andrew's website here. You're actually the first one from overseas that I've ever built one of these for, and this is your completed pilot. As you can see, I'm kind of doing it with the P-51B, my Shangri-La, in the background here, but I'll see if I can get in a little close to him here. I know I've already sent you lots of pictures, but anyway, this is the 1/8 scale Aces of Iron WW2 pilot figure, and he sent me his stock EOM FMS pilot, and I opted to go this way with these size pilots because they're a lot lighter than the clay method that I used to mold up. I've done on some of the larger ones. I've done one in this size, and I sent it to Andrew at Mr. RC Sounds as a gift, and so he's got the only one that I've actually done a custom molded up bottom to. I actually had it in my Big Beautiful Doll V7 Mustang that is right there, and I'm making a replacement for that, but I wanted him to have one, so I sent it to him. But I've made all the rest of them like this because I kind of like this way a lot better. I can do them a little quicker. They're a lot lighter as far as the weight goes, and I can actually get them to where they look like they're not even joined. Again, as you'll see here, there's the top half of the pilot you sent me, so you can use him as a bust, and I'll be sending him back to you with the this pilot here once I get the thing with your address from Sweden figured out, which is kind of kicking my butt a little bit here, trying to figure out what parts of your address or what to be able to put it into a shipping label, but we'll get that all figured out here. If you'll notice right here, right about above my thumbnail, just below his center straps there is where he's joined together. Again, this is the bottom of the FMS stock pilot that comes with them. Kind of walk around here with it. See if I can kind of get in closer here. Make this video as smooth as possible. He's all painted up, airbrushed, weathered, flattened out. He's got that mean look on his face like, give me some enemies to go get. Got his goggles all made. He sent me some documentation to do Mr. Don Gentile, the actual one of the Shangri-La pilots, or the pilot of the Shangri-La, should I say, right here, and to resemble him as much as possible. And it's actually a pretty good mix with what I've got here to work with. And from Mr. Lassie. Hope I'm saying your name right. Forgive me if I'm slaughtering it here, if there's a slang to it or a pronunciation error. And a nice picture there that I'm going to keep for memento's sake here. And my pilot done exactly the same way. Yours actually turned out a lot better. I've got about 32 hours in him. I've been working on him since Friday, about non-stop, with a little bit of sleep in between, and yes, I did get some sleep. And he'll sit down in there real nice and perfect. He'll be a perfect sit down in there. You can actually just put some, just like he was on the original plane, just put some screws through the floorboard and screw him right in. You don't have to tack him in with that glue, so if you want to take him out and put him in another airplane here. We'll walk over here, and I'll set yours down here. You can see the difference here in size-wise. This is a 1/7 scale Aces of Iron pilot that I've done for another airplane of mine. This is the 1/8, and this is a stock EOM FMS pilot. Big difference, as you can see here. Kind of get down here where we can see them a little better here. So they're exact same size, and I actually cut them off right below, right about here, and try to line the parts of their oxygen tube up as best as possible here. Now, this pilot I have actually molded up the full body, which is like the smaller one that I did for Andrew. I've only done one of those, but he's also a bit heavier, even though the FMS planes handle it the weight just fine. And I actually have these guys in all mine, and I've done several of these for different members on RC groups and friends and so forth, and almost every single one of my airplanes has one of these in there. I've done the civilian pilot for 2 people, myself and V8 on RC groups, And he's right there in my Obsession Mustang, which is a 1700mm FMS Mustang. And then I have a Tuskegee Pilot, which I've done for myself and one member, I believe is up in New York, where we've actually done a Tuskegee Airman in my modified 1700mm Mustang that's done up in the B version, which is actually where FMS got the idea to do all these. And I won't go into that because I'm not real happy with FMS, because I sent them the information to do that. But that's what the molded one would look like that we were starting to do at first. And he screws in the same way. He's got a little bit more rounded legs that I do to him, but quite a bit heavier as far as sitting in the airplane and on the size wise. This is the way that I'm going to do the larger size for the 1700mm birds, because you can't blend the two together because they don't fit right. But the 1400mm size guys that come with them are about the same size, will fit real well with the 1/8 scale Aces of Iron pilot bust, and you can get a very good blend with them. You just have to kind of walk it around, and the painting and the detail, which takes almost all the time. I had the pilot joined and put together in less than an hour, but it takes the other, 28, 32 hours or so to get him all painted up to make him look like this. I actually cut his hand off right here and I twist it because I don't like the angle it's at. If you'll notice, they're at a different angle. Where his hand's up and down here, I actually turn it sideways like he's got his hand up on a throttle. And I use some heat and I bend his hand in here so it sits a little more in the center here as opposed to what it is here. But this is the way that I'm going to do the 1/8 scale guys for our 1400mm birds. And Andrew's actually going to put up an order, I guess a part of on his website there, which he asked me if he could do, and I told him that was all fine. So he'll be able to take orders for these and send them off to me. Plus, on my RC Groups page, I have a blog where you can order them directly from me and so forth there. But Andrew's already got a website, and we're going to kind of join forces there and add this to part of the products that are offered for the FMS birds, his RC Mr. Sounds, and he'll take orders for some of these pilots as well. And then I do these in my off time from work and so forth. But Lassie, there's your pilot. He turned out absolutely gorgeous, and I had an absolutely fantastic time putting him together, which is why I dedicate so much time to him. These are actually relaxing to me to put these together and sit down and paint them up in my spare time, my off weekends, which is what I've been doing this weekend. And I know I told you about 2 weeks, but believe it or not, he's actually done. It's only Sunday, and I'm going to get him in the mail sometime this week. If I stop by the post office and get him mailed off to you here. The overseas shipping for these guys is a lot more expensive than we expected. It's typically about $6 or so in the continental United States, and I think we're going to be able to get this guy shipped off for about 10 to 18 bucks for overseas to Sweden. Like I said, this is the very first one, so it's kind of an honor to me to be able to do this for you, for a member of our overseas group. And I am actually very pleased with the way he came out, and I'm sure you will be too. And I look forward to doing more of them for you guys over there. They actually look fantastic. Again, I'll zoom it up on his face here. Did this with my phone a minute ago, but it was real blurry. And kind of let you have a walk around in a live view instead of just still photos. Get him to stand up here. And I'll ship back your top half there. You might have another airplane that you want to put just a pilot bust into there. Paint him up. So you actually kind of still rescued part of your pilot and still use them. That's what I save them for. Again, here's the top half of your pilot. The bottom half is attached to the Aces of Iron for your Shangri-La P-51 Mustang, which I have the same thing on. And we'll both be flying the same airplane. She flies great. I'm only waiting for one more thing, and that's a 3-axis stabilizer. Not that it really needs it. It's a pretty stable airplane anyway. But I want one in there too. And I have the Mr. RC Sounds version 4 in mine as well right now with two 2-inch speakers, as we've seen the prior videos that I posted of this airplane. But now here's your pilot for it, and these will be available and up on Mr. RC Sounds Andrew's website here shortly, as I spoke to him yesterday and this morning, and be available for anybody else to order. Until then, you can actually go to my RC Group's blog page, and there's a section on there for these pilots with some information on them, with prices and so forth. If you're an overseas customer, just please be aware that the shipping may be a little bit more, and I put some more on there. I'm kind of new to this as far as shipping them overseas. Again, this is for Lasse over in Sweden, and he is actually the first customer outside of the continental United States who wanted one and sent me this beautiful documentation, and I'm fixing to ship him off this fantastic pilot. Lasse, I hope you like it and had fun doing it. Hope you liked the video, and I'll be getting him out of here as quick as possible. This is Brandon. I'm out. He'll be reporting for duty here real shortly.